What do you think is the most fought-over city in all of human history? These are cities that have seen empires rise and fall, flags torn down and hoisted again, streets renamed, and yet they endure. There are only right answers today, because we're using math to find it. If you're not into the math part, feel free to skip ahead to the start of the top 10 countdown. But for the rest of you, let's set some ground rules first. For major battles over a city, we're only counting external sieges, invasions, or conquests. And yes, that includes failed attempts too. Multi-year wars count as one event, while there can be multiple events in the same year if different powers or fronts were involved. To keep things focused, we're only looking at cities with at least 5 such major conflicts in history. We're going to combine 3 different metrics to figure this out. Firstly, let's look at conflict recurrence. This measures how many times a city was besieged, invaded, or conquered. But older cities have an unfair advantage. They've simply existed longer. For example, Acre in the Levant is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities. It's had thousands of years to be attacked, unlike, say, New York, which is only a few centuries old. So, to balance things out, we adjusted for time. That way, a younger city that's frequently fought over can score just as high as an ancient one. Second, we are going to use temporal persistence. This measures how regularly a city faced conflict. If a city is attacked every few generations, it has high persistence. But if it sees a few chaotic centuries and then sleeps peacefully for 1,000 years, it scores low. Take Carthage, for example, part of modern-day Tunisia. It was attacked several times when it was a major trading hub in the ancient world. But once its glory faded, so did the wars around it. So despite its fame, Carthage ranks low on temporal persistence. Finally, we are going to take legacy and geopolitical importance into account. We added this one because not every city that was attacked mattered equally. Some were strategic targets, while others were just collateral damage. We looked at 3 sub-factors. These are strategic location, cultural legacy, and political influence. To make it even more accurate, we factored in LGI at the time of each conflict, because a city's importance changes through history. Take Paris, for instance. Today, it's one of the most influential capitals on Earth. But in the early medieval period, when it was fought over by the Franks, Normans, and Burgundians, its global importance was far smaller. Samarkand, on the other hand, is the opposite. In ancient and medieval times, it was the heartbeat of Central Asia. So, when dynasties clashed over it, those battles carried enormous civilizational weight. Even if Samarkand isn't a global capital today, back then it was a prize worth burning worlds for. We scraped through historical databases and academic sources to gather data points, using statistical techniques like time dispersion, weighted indexing, and scaling models to make sure every factor was represented fairly. And with that, it's time to put history to the test. But before we jump in, we are individuals that are curious to deep dive into the world around us, both past and present. If you are like-minded, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Beginning at number 10, we go to Kiev. Kiev has been in the news lately for reasons that fit our theme, but its story goes far beyond modern times. Kiev sits on the Dnipro River, the meeting point between the forests of Europe and the steppe of Eurasia, geography that made it a natural crossroads for trade and, unfortunately, invasions. It began as the capital of the Kievan Rus, then became a prize for Mongols, Lithuanians, Poles, and later the Russian and Nazi armies. One of its most defining moments was the Mongol invasion of 1240, when Batu Khan's forces burned the city to the ground. Kiev ranks high in temporal persistence, conflicts spaced across every major era, from medieval raids to modern warfare, proving that its strategic location has never stopped mattering. We move eastward for our number 9, Samarkand. Samarkand owes its turbulent history to its position on the Silk Road, linking China, Persia, and the Mediterranean. Control of Samarkand meant control of Eurasian trade. It was conquered by Alexander the Great, razed by the Mongols, and rebuilt as the glittering capital of Timur's empire in the 14th century. A major event was the Mongol sack of 1220, when Genghis Khan destroyed nearly the entire city. Samarkand scores exceptionally high in legacy and geopolitical importance, reflecting how vital it once was to global commerce and empire, even if today it's far from the world's political centers. Next up, we visit Antioch, in modern Antakya in Turkey. This might be the one city on the list you've never heard of. But at one point, Antioch was called the Queen of the East. Antioch was one of the great cities of the Hellenistic world, later becoming a key Roman and Byzantine stronghold and one of Christianity's earliest centers. Its location near the Orontes River made it the gateway between the Mediterranean and inland Syria. It changed hands repeatedly between Persians, Byzantines, Arabs, Crusaders, and Ottomans. One defining event was the Siege of Antioch in 1098 during the First Crusade, a brutal 7-month battle that cost tens of thousands of lives and reshaped the Crusader presence in the region. Antioch ranks high in conflict recurrence, with numerous full-scale conquests across more than a millennium of warfare. We move towards Europe for our number 7, Warsaw. Warsaw's misfortune is geography. Sitting on flat land between Germany and Russia, For centuries, it's been a battleground between rival empires. It suffered invasions by Swedes, Prussians, Russians, and Germans, and was crushed during both World Wars. Its defining moment was the Warsaw Uprising of 1944, when the Polish resistance fought the Nazis for 63 days before the city was systematically destroyed. Warsaw ranks among the highest for modern persistence. Most of its conflicts occurred within just 400 years, showing how compressed and relentless its modern history has been. We stay in Europe for number 6. Vienna. Vienna's position on the Danube frontier made it Europe's eastern gate, the point where Christendom and the Ottoman Empire collided. The city was besieged by Ottoman armies twice, first in 1529 and again in 1683, both times in defining struggles for control of Europe. It was also occupied by Napoleon and later bombed during World War II. The Second Ottoman Siege of 1683 is its most iconic event, the turning point that ended Ottoman expansion into Central Europe. Vienna ranks highly in temporal persistence, showing recurring conflicts in distinct eras rather than one short burst of war. Next up, we have Rome. They say every road leads to Rome, and so did every army. Rome's central position on the Italian peninsula made it both the heart of empire and a target for anyone seeking legitimacy or revenge. It was attacked by Gauls, Goths, Vandals, Normans, and Holy Roman emperors, each leaving scars. The sack of Rome in 410 CE by the Visigoths is perhaps the most famous, symbolizing the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Rome ranks extremely high in legacy importance. The city's influence as a political and religious capital ensured that even centuries after its decline, conquerors still sought its symbolic power. For our number 4, we need to move further east. Delhi. Delhi has been the seat of Indian power for nearly 1,000 years, controlling the plains between the Himalayas and the Deccan. It has been attacked by Mongols, Afghans, Persians, and the British, and rebuilt multiple times, from the Delhi Sultanate to the Mughal Empire and beyond. One defining event was Nadir Shah's invasion in 1739, when Persian forces looted Delhi after defeating the Mughal army. Delhi ranks among the highest in both recurrence and legacy, reflecting its continuous centrality in South Asian politics. Before we enter the top 3, a few cities deserve special mention, places that came close but just missed the cut. Aleppo and Damascus in Syria often appear on similar lists of this nature. They've been hotly contested throughout history, and even in recent times. However, being among the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world actually hurt their score. Across nearly 45 centuries of history, they simply didn't have enough major battles to rank higher. On the opposite side of longevity lies an interesting case in Sevastopol. Founded only in 1783 as a naval base for the Russian Empire, it's seen repeated sieges due to its Black Sea position. Based on our metrics, it would rank high. But it didn't meet the cutoff of 5 major wars to qualify. After all, we're talking about the most contested cities in all of written history. If you're enjoying this trip through history, do us a favor and hit that like button. And while you are at it, don't forget to subscribe as well. All right, back to the list. And we're heading to the Middle East, to a city that once defined knowledge and empire, Baghdad. Founded in the 8th century as the capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad became the intellectual heart of the Islamic world. Its location on the Tigris made it a trade and cultural hub, but also a military target. It was devastated in 1258 when Mongol forces under Hulagu Khan destroyed the city, ending the Islamic Golden Age. Later, it was fought over by Ottomans, Persians, and modern powers. Baghdad ranks near the top in legacy and persistence. Centuries apart, the city has remained a strategic and ideological prize. Are you surprised to see it this high on this list? Let us know in the comments below. At number 2 is Constantinople, the city known as Istanbul today. No city in history has been besieged by more empires than Constantinople. Its control of the Bosporus made it the key to both Europe and Asia, and everyone wanted it. It was attacked by Persians, Arabs, Bulgars, Crusaders, and Ottomans, some more than once. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 ended the Byzantine Empire and marked the dawn of the Ottoman Age. It ranks near perfectly in conflict recurrence, with over a dozen full-scale sieges, and also scores high in legacy, symbolizing the line between East and West. And finally, at number 1, the inevitable city, Jerusalem. Sacred to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, it has been captured and recaptured by Egyptians, Babylonians, Romans, Crusaders, Ottomans, British, Israelis, and Arabs. Some defining events include the Babylonian conquest in 586 BCE, when King Nebuchadnezzar's forces destroyed the First Temple and exiled much of the Jewish population to Babylon. The Roman siege under Titus in 70 CE, which ended with the destruction of the Second Temple, a defining moment in both Jewish and Roman history. The First Crusade in 1099, when European crusaders captured the city after a brutal siege and massacring much of the population in one of the bloodiest episodes of the Middle Ages. The recapture by Saladin in 1187, which restored Muslim control and became legendary for its comparative mercy and diplomacy. The British entry into Jerusalem in 1917, marking the end of Ottoman rule after 400 years and the city's entry into the modern geopolitical era. Jerusalem ranks first in both conflict recurrence and legacy importance. Its religious and cultural symbolism ensured that for 3,000 years, every empire that entered the region tried to claim it. So, now we want to hear from you. Which city's entry surprised you the most? Are there any obvious contenders that you think we missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.